CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.
All right, should we get to our next guest? We've got Andrew King, President of the New Zealand Rural Schools Leadership Association. The government's announced $37 million to replace diesel boilers for up to 70 schools. It's also a temporary lift in mileage support for relief teachers. Sounds pretty good on paper, but is it enough? G'day, Andrew. Welcome to the show, mate. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, kia ora, and thanks for having me along.
Kia ora. Is this package meaningful, or is it more of a headline? Is it, what do you guys make of it?
Yeah, it is definitely meaningful and a step in the right direction. The reliever package, that mileage rate hasn't been changed for many, many years, and it was around 37 cents, I think, a kilometre. Relievers are...
Oh, has Andrew gone? He's frozen. He is in a very cool little place.
With a shortage of teachers anyway.
Oh, sorry, Andrew, you're back. We just lost you briefly.
We lost you for a little bit. Sorry, you were talking about the mileage rate. We just lost you at that point. Can you just go back to it?
Yeah. Yes, it definitely is a benefit. The mileage rate was around 37 cents a kilometre, and now it's gone up to 83 cents. Why it's important for rural communities is relievers have a choice of where they can go and teach. And naturally, when petrol prices are as they are, they're going to be more inclined to drive to an urban school. So this gives them that motivation to still consider a rural school to go and relieve in. Otherwise, you've got rural schools that are down, affects health and safety and just the smooth implementation of the curriculum, because you've got teachers not turning up to be able to teach the kids if relievers are choosing urban schools over rural.
It's interesting, Andrew, because I have to pay mileage to our contributors who go out on farm in long distances, photographers for our magazines, co-hosts. We do different deals for him. But we're paying at a tier 1 rate. Why is the Ministry of Education paying relief teachers, who are effectively contractors on a case-by-case basis, a tier 2 rate, which, to give people an understanding, it's $1.17 a kilometre for petrol and diesel versus 37 cents. It seems like they're ripping their own system.
The relievers?
Yes. I mean, the Ministry of Education is ripping off teachers. It's not really that fair, because they're not doing over 14,000 for that one school.
No, I guess it's a different context. We're government employees, and all mileage rates for additional travel on top of your normal day-to-day work is set at that 83 cents, but the anomaly is that 37 cents rate that was for relievers. Yeah, good question though.
Should hit them up on that one, because at the end of the day, why should you be deemed a different because you're a temporary employee of the government compared to the private sectors as a contractor?
That's a really good question. Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't be asking you hard questions.
Yeah. No, look, so on that, obviously, you talked about it, and relief teachers have a choice. So were rural schools missing out? Were we getting a shortage of relief teachers in rural schools, or is this just preemptive here with the cost of diesel getting up, or petrol getting up to where it was, something that could happen?
I think we could have been getting into a perfect storm in the middle of winter, which is traditionally towards the end of term 2 and term 3, so around Gypsy Day and calving and all that sort of time, which is the last time, or what's the last thing rural schools need is a staff shortage during that period of time for our farming communities. Rural communities are generally struggling more with recruitment and retention than our urban counterparts, some regions more so than others, depending on their proximity to an urban centre. So this is about ensuring it gets no worse. And hopefully it might even make things a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
Random question, but what about rural school buses and the cost of fuel there?
That's a really good question. So there's two types of funding for rural school bus runs. You've got ministry funded runs, and that means that the school has nothing to do with having to worry about the cost of that. That's on the ministry to fund. You've got direct resourcing schools as well, where a school can, they basically get a bulk grant from the ministry, and then you determine your bus routes. That gets reviewed, I think, every 6 monthly. So eventually those schools will get top-up funding around that, but we just have to use it's just a delayed top-up fund. Then there are the students that can qualify for a conveyance allowance, which has historically been very, very low. And the exciting thing is there's an acknowledgement that that's far too low. And in fact, it was 1985, I think, was the last time that figure was reviewed. So we've got 5,000 students now benefiting from an increase of 30%, I think it is, for that conveyance allowance to be increased. And that's for children that don't have access to a bus service near to their residence, and it gives them that kilometre rate to the nearest bus stop or the school.
Andrew, the other part of the announcement is 37 million to replace diesel boilers in up to 70 schools. Obviously, at this time of the year, we're just heading into the colder months. In reality, these boilers are not going to be in until next year, I wouldn't have thought. You're not going to move them that fast. Or is there some chance that things will change? And what are they changing them to? Is it electric?
That's a really good question. So there's a few aspects to this. I think about 50 to 60% of those schools still on boiler are rural schools. The good news is that most of those rural schools are small schools, and so it's relatively easy just to quickly convert you to heat pumps. But there might be some transformer issues or upgrades required and so forth. However, that's still going to probably not happen, I'm imagining, till around spring, that all those rural schools will benefit from that. But pretty much by the end of this year, you'll see most rural schools benefiting from that switchover at no cost to them.
As we are heading into an election, Andrew, what's on your association's wish list for rural schools?
Okay, the biggest thing is a need for a school transport review, and that has been signalled by the Minister and our Secretary, Alan McGregor-Reid, so that's exciting to see that that's finally happening. Well, there have been attempts with that in the past, but it's good to see that it's back on the table again. Since 2010, I think, was the last time they were considering looking at that. The biggest issue, though, for rural schools is the inequity of staffing, because we have a system that is staffing based on numbers of students in schools. In rural schools, the numbers of students in the school fluctuates quite more dramatically than in urban schools. And it's not really based on need. And when you've got a year-by-year curriculum and you've still got that diversity of, you might be a year 1 to 8 school or a year 1 to 6 school, all in 1 or 2 or 3 classrooms, you need more than one teacher, and you need a principal that is able to lead the school and not have to juggle leading and teaching and being a community rep. So staffing small and rural schools is a big what's on top for us that needs to be addressed properly.
Yeah, it's interesting. Rural schools, they do go up and down depending on what families in the district and brought a big bunch of kids in or not, and then they move through, right? So that would make it really, really difficult. But in general, right across the rural schools in New Zealand, are roll numbers stable? Are they going up? Are they going down? What's the big picture?
At the moment in primary schools, they're very slightly down compared to 5 years ago. But it's quite regional. Some regions are seeing a significant decline, some stable, some are seeing growth. So, for example, I'm in the Bay of Plenty near Tauranga, so we're still seeing a bit of growth in our rural schools, which are pretty close to the main urban centres. But generally speaking, rolls are down a bit. Yep.
Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. Andrew King is the president of the New Zealand Rural Schools Leadership Association, following the announcement of 37 million to replace some boilers in 70 schools and a temporary lift in mileage support. Some interesting things I learned there, Andy, in that particular interview. I didn't know that there was a conveyancing amount that parents could get to drive to the bus stop. When I was 5, it took my parents half an hour to get me to the bus stop before I even got on the bus to go to primary school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I had to bike.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Back in 1939.
Oh, here we go. I had to bike. Hey, Andrew, really appreciate your time, mate. Thank you, and we'd love to talk to you again. So, yeah, have a good one. Keep up the good work.
You.
Keep up the good work on behalf of our kids. We're all kids.
Thank you very much.
CountryWide Connect with Andy Thompson and Sarah Perriam-Lampp.